Yeah, hello, welcome back to the grind, and you can see that this is a good news episode. Okay? That motor is running, and running quite nicely. I spent, what did I do? Don't even remember what I did. Spent quite a bit of time figuring out how to get it tuned up, and seems that all, and then I checked out the transmission, all the gears work. I put the gear shifter in there, and so that all the gears work, and then miraculously it quit dripping oil after I filled up. Like the transmission was excessively low. It was making some pretty serious noise. Then I installed the after that, got the carburetor adjusted more or less. I'm understanding how to adjust, so that's a good start. And then I installed electronic ignition into the distributor, put a timing light down there. I really don't know that I did any good with that, but it's done. And I was able to wire in the new wiring for the electronic ignition over to here. Everything works. Checked out how many ohms are in this. Did a bunch of stuff like that. So stick around, and if I missed anything, I'll put it in the description. I don't remember, I don't remember stuff. Anyhow, stick around, see everything that happened, and enjoy yourself. Bye now. Okay, here I am, back again. Now today, or this week, or sometime, got to get some water running through this so the thing can run for a while, and get the fuel system hooked up. Plug up all the vacuum holes, and then I've also got this thing here, which is a hot spark electronic ignition thing, which I've used these before, and they work pretty good. That'll be in there sometime. I thought I'd make sure it ran with points and plugs, points and condenser before anything, and I also want to get this thing here hooked on. Clean that up and get it into the car. Okay, that's coming. So I dug around and found the throttle linkage, which is this thing here. I imagine that must hook onto the, don't know. Anyway, this part, there's that part in right there. That just sits against the body of the car. And this part here will slide into there, we hope. Yep. Then it comes over and hooks onto this stuff like that. Now is that on? No. There, that's on. And it does that. Then I found this rod here, and it's adjustable. I wonder where the adjustment should be, at the bottom or the top, or does it matter? I think it goes to the top. We'll just pretend it goes to the top. And it goes on there, and then down into the bottom, down into the throttle linkage down below, down there. Like that, and like that. I wonder if it's got to be... Could be the other way around, eh? Like that. And like that down below. Okay, well I'll clean that off, and then I'll get it on there. Then I'm pretty sure this thing here, which is a kick down. Not really sure what it does, but when you nail it, then this thing pulls. Whoops. Guess I'll get that out of there somehow. That thing pulls on the transmission to give it some goose juice, eh? Or it should. Don't know. But I'll stick it on there and just see. I think that's where it goes. Oh, no, right here. Right on there. Then it turns like that and pulls on this. Okay, well, we'll just see. Okay, that's hooked on there. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, that's the little linkage there. So the gas pedal's hooked up. Now I've got to do this one of these times. There's a holder here for this that just gets those and captures them and holds them up out of the way there. Right there, I think. So I'll get that done soon. Then this wire is here. This is that linkage for the safety switch on the neutral safety switch, which I've got disabled right now because it's not working, but we'll run a couple of heat cycles through the motor, I think, and it doesn't seem to be leaking as, you know, I think maybe, well, who knows, eh? A little bit of oil there. Is that coming out the seal at the front? Might be. God. Oh well, we'll just let it be for a while and then we'll just see what we have to do. Yeah, so this is the thermostat. I don't know, can you see in there? It's got like two blockers, one at the top here and one at the kind of at the bottom there. So I guess one will open and then the other one will heat up and open. Don't know for sure, but I've cleaned it off now, and it seems to be you can't change that thermostat. You have to change the whole housing, right? So what I'll do, I think I'll go and put it in some boiling water and just see if it actually thermostats. See what temperature it opens at. Yeah, okay, there's the great experiment, and then there's, you can't read that likely, but it's 75 degrees or 76 degrees right now. So it'll be a while warming up. Yeah, their water's at about 180 degrees now, so hopefully things are starting to open up. I'll see if I can dig it out of the water and see. Here we are. Very difficult to see into anything. I think it opened. I'm not sure. Can't tell. All that, and I can't really tell. I'll just see if any water. No, the water's not. Oh yeah, the water's draining out of there, so it must be opening. Well, that's a good sign. I'll leave it for another. I'll leave it up to 190. 185 now. So I'll let it go till 190 and see. Yeah, the water's at 190 now. It's starting to bubble down there. Sorry. I'll go the other way. So the water should drain out of there, but it's not yet. Slowly draining out of there, but not very quickly. Looks like the bottom one's definitely opened up. And the bottom one's opened up. I'll just let it go to a little bit higher and just see what happens with the top one. 191 right now. 193. $196. Have a look now. Top one's still closed. Bottom one's open wide, so it'll circulate water. Wonder if the top one's like a 200 degree thing or something. I'll wait and see. Don't know. 196 right now. Yeah, waiting for water to boil, right? 198. Around 200 there around the machine, so I'm going to pull it off of there. And have a look over here. Because I don't think it should have to get... Oh boy, that's hot. How to boil yourself, right? Looks like the top one it's still closed. Now I wonder what. The bottom one is definitely opened up. Yeah. The bottom one just runs free. Top one, not so. I wonder what that's all about. See if I can hurt myself here, right? Not really sure what happens there, what temperature it's supposed to open at. But I'm going to stick it in and just see what happens with it. If it works, that's fine. If it doesn't work, that's, well, get a new one. Yeah, so it's cooled down enough to touch now. And you can blow through. Everything gets air. Yeah, they all are. All the passages are open, so I'll take that as a operating machine. And we'll go stick it on the car. There's where it fits from the bottom, so that hose goes into there, into the thermostat, and that goes into the water pump. Don't know where the top end of the water pump comes in, but somewhere up there. And then the other hose goes up above, which I will go towards now and see what's going on up there. Let the car down and just check it out. Okay, been doing heater hoses, or hoses on the car. This one and this one are on, right? Radiator, and then that's the outlet for the water pump, or inlet. That's the inlet for the water pump, right? But then, see this hose here? It goes underneath there, so I have to take that off to be able to get to that water hose. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh well, that's... And then that hose there goes to the heater. You can see in there, maybe. I'll give you some light. Can you see the heater hose in there? Yeah. That goes to the heater core. Same on the other side, except this side here has got the little brass thing that turns it on and off. This pipe goes to the back of the head right there. This pipe here goes onto this water jacket of the, whatever you call this thing, water jacket on the manifold. So it's got that going from the water pump, then that and that out of it, or into it, whatever way the direction goes. I'm not sure what way the direction goes. Anyway, and then this goes into the head, so there's lots of water going around somewhere. Anyway, I got to take this hose off, get that alternator out of there, and put that hose on. Yeah, so painfully obvious where it goes right here. I'll get a thingy-eye for it, or two. It goes right there and right on here, over here, where my hand is down underneath there. Can you see that? I don't know. Somewhere up there, right there. Then that completes all the water pipes. Okay, that's on. Now I get to fight and put this back on. But maybe I can get the bolt to go the right way around this time instead of the wrong way around. We'll see. I was going to put some water in, then I figured maybe I better just test and make sure the fan shroud will go on there without too much trouble. And trouble is my second name, right? So I guess I have to take the radiator out, put the shroud on there, put the radiator back in, and then position the shroud. That's the way it works these days. Yeah, it was all going along pretty nice and easy until I remembered that these have to come off there too, right? Or these being the hydraulic hoses. So I'll see if I can get something to plug them up. I don't know what I'll have. Yeah, can you see that? That's the hose right there. And I just put an earplug in it. That keeps it quiet and easy to, and plugged up. So now I'll let this down again and see if I can get that radiator out. Yeah, so radiator's over there. The shroud is in. You know, we get to do things numerous times around here, so I know it's done 100% twice or 3 times. So I'll put it back in. This wiring harness has to go around the front of the radiator. So anyhow, here we go. Somewhere around there, yep. Okay, here we go. It really wasn't that tough, just, you know, disappointing. But everything in the world is disappointing sometimes. That's good. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. The way it's supposed to be. Needs a couple of bolts right here, but the bottoms are held in by tabs. I'll have a look at the bottom of it when I'm down there. It looks like I dripped fluid on my belt down there. Anyway, I'll clean that up when I'm down there. There it is. It's like, it's all back together. Now I still have to put the securing bolts into the bottom of the rad, but the didn't hardly make a mess. Like a couple of little drops, and I could clean them up. So I'll put this away and we'll carry on. Okay, so water is coming out of, can you see that pipe right there? I don't know if I can get that pipe right there where the thing is. Water coming out of there. Where's that pipe supposed to go? Or is it just supposed to be plugged off? I don't know. I have no idea. Not knowing. Okay, so I guess I'll do some thinking on it. Looks like there's another pipe right here. Right there. That's a water pipe, so I think that it goes from there to there. Okay, I'm going to put a pipe on that and hold it up straight, and then I'll wait and see if that one drips water out of it if it gets high enough. Yep, sure enough, that's where water is leaking out of right there. So I put this hose way up here, so I'll just cut a chunk of hose that fits like that and then block that off. Yeah, so there's a hose across through that. That should hopefully stop the leaking. I'll fill up the water and then we'll see if it's leaking anywhere else. Okay, so that's all the heater hoses in, and all these hoses are attached. So now I'll just leave it till tomorrow and see if it's wet underneath it. I think I've got the water leaks cured. I don't know why that must be something to do with heating the like it keeps it from icing up when it's when the cold air is coming into it, and it just makes that hot. So oh well, that's what it's supposed to do anyhow. And now, but I don't know why, like it's got this great big hose of water going in there and gushing everywhere else. Don't know why I guess you can turn off the heater hose. Don't know. So that would be a little bit of a bypass to make sure water keeps on circulating all the time, right? But this one here, that would make it circulate too. So I don't know. Just don't know. Anyway, and then I put on this hose, vacuum hose for the brake booster. This, I took that all apart because this was plugged up, so I cleaned it out, or I just unplugged it. It just unplugged, you know, sort of automatically by itself there. So that was good. Anyway, that's enough for today. See you tomorrow. Yeah, here I am back at it again, and I came out earlier today, and you can see the water there now, but I looked in there and I thought that it was down to, it was so clear that I thought it was down to the top there, but down to the rails in the water thing there, and sure enough, I put in 2 ounces and it overflowed it, so I guess it's not leaking. That's good. That's good news. Now, let's see if we can figure out where some of these vacuum lines go. Okay, that'll be next. So there's the vacuum stuff that I know about. That's supposed to clip in there, but won't. We'll figure that out. So this line here, I've got it coming from here, but I think it should be coming out of this one right here. And it goes initially to that in the middle, hey? Then this one goes to here. I wonder if that should go to the middle one. Then this is a takeoff of it. It goes over to this one, and then this goes to the vacuum advance on the distributor. This vacuum hose goes right to this thing here, which is, not knowing what it is, it's a fuel return valve of some sort, and I really don't know how it works or what it does, but must do something. Anyhow, but I'll keep investigating. I'm going to get the hoses and pipes that come up off of the that thing down there, the air pump, and then see where they go to and what they do. They go into this conglomerate here, and this conglomerate here just goes all over the place, right? No, and it needs vacuum, so it's got to hook on to one of these vacuum pipes, likely that one, or maybe, I don't know. Got to hook on somewhere. We'll find a spot. Okay. Okay, now this thing here, that's called the diverter valve for the air pump. So air comes into it from the pump on this right here. This side goes to the exhaust, which is open when there's no vacuum. I think it's closed when there's vacuum, but I'll check that out later. Then this side here, this side over this way, it just goes out into the air, like it just pushes air out. It doesn't. It goes nowhere. It goes into the engine compartment and disappears. Because it's only air coming through that pump. It's not like it has to be crystal clear or something like that. Anyway, so now it goes in like this. Oh, where am I? Like that, right there. Kind of sits in there. And then the one hose goes on the bottom, and I think it heads out that way. And then the other two hoses go in wherever they go. So I'll put this hose on the bottom one and see if I can get it to go somewhere, and then we'll go from there. I've got these couple of little bolts that hold it. We'll hold it. See what happens. Not the simplest thing to figure out, but there's that hose starts here at that. This is a one-way valve. It'll only go that way. And it comes along underneath the water pipes and then comes out right there. The other hose is right here, where at the end of my thing, and goes underneath the oil filter and comes out down there onto the air pump. That's how they all go together. And then this thing here will jam in between there, and that hose there goes wherever it lives. We'll just figure that out as I get it in there. Okay. I'll try getting it in and see what happens. Yeah, there you go. So that vacuum hose goes there. Fuel line from here to here. Fuel line from there to there. New fuel line on here. This goes to that, I think, the evaporator thing. I'm not really sure. Don't know if it's on this diagram or not. No, not on that diagram. I'll find a diagram that has it on it somewhere. See if we can figure this stuff out. And nothing there. Nope. And nothing there. But there's pictures, and a picture might say 1,000 words here. Anyway, in a minute I'll see if I can find a picture. Yeah, so there's a picture, and it shows this tube going out across the battery and to I don't know where. There it is again right there, going to I don't know where. But then it's got this, see this canister here? That's a vapor canister. I don't know how that hooks in either. Must be a hose somewhere that it hooks onto. I guess we'll figure that out as we get along. Anyway, I think I've got most of the vacuum hoses covered. And the brake thing, this is a brake booster hose. That one there goes to this valve. That valve goes to the whatever you call that, advanced retard on there. That's a new piece of vacuum pipe in here. This one here goes to right here on the manifold. That one right there goes down to this valve here, which is to do with the air pump. And I think all the pipes are on. I need to put a clamp on that hose way down there on the air pump, but I don't have to. That's not an emergency. I think everything is pretty well covered now. I could likely start it up and run it. This hose here just goes into the air cleaner. And then I put this on. This is for holding on to the air cleaner, I presume. But that's only a presumption. We'll find out when the air cleaner gets on there. Now, today is enough for today. I'll run a fuel line down here and meet up with my other fuel line somewhere down there. Okay. See you later. Okay, there's something new in the yard here. Now I posted a video on this thing right here, just getting it home. You might have seen it by now already, but it's going to sit there for a little while until I get this thing, what's going on right now, off the lift. But it won't be long before I get this off the lift and I can do something else for a bit. It gets to there becomes a point where you want to just take a break from it for a little bit, so that's all right. I'll do that. I'll get the motor running, get it so it's got a steering wheel in it and it drives up and down the road, and then we'll do something else for a little bit, but we'll see. Anyway, but today, here we am back again. It's only been a couple of seconds for you, but it's been a couple of days for me again. So here I am. I'm gonna get some sort of a gas line from here down to meet up my other gas line down below. Okay, so I'll put the car up, and then I can figure it out. Here I am. I've got, you see right there? That's that fuel line coming up right there. So I'll go down below and get that sort of secured down below, and then we'll get a line. I'm going to make rubber hose from there to here. That gives lots of room for the motor to shake, and it won't break the hard line. Okay, there. Now, fuel line comes from the back from the tank all the way around to here. And I put a compression fit on there, which is, it's okay to put that on a fuel line. And then these little things here to hold it up into place, whether they'll last a long time or not, we'll see. Then this has got, like, that's a real fitting, like that's not a compression fit. That's a legal fitting for brake lines. And so that's all done underneath here. I'll go up above there and see if I can get it hooked on up above. Okay, might have it figured out for the wiring here. That wire there is green and blue, or something in blue. Wait a minute till I find out. Hang on. It goes to, yeah, green and blue. It goes to the air temperature switch, and then it goes to the thermostat valve, which is over there, I think. I think that's it. Don't know. But doesn't matter. So green and blue goes to this air temperature switch here, and then this is a power lead for the air temperature switch. That one doesn't have any power. This is a power lead, green and white power lead to the idle cutoff switch, and then another green and white comes up and goes into the, it's all on the same strand. This green and white goes up into the automatic choke. And I'm not really that happy with where that wire's traveling there, but I'll see about maybe getting that in a better spot. Maybe I have to come from the other side, do I? I could always come around this way with it all. That might make more sense. Okay, but I'll do that. I'll show you if I get it done. Then this wire down here, it goes, that's a brown and black wire. It goes into the coolant temperature switch. And then there's also a red and black wire that goes onto the solenoid for the starter, and it's other end is this, that wire here, I think, yeah, red and black, that wire there, which goes on to here. It's supposed to give the starter 12 full volts when it's supposed to give the coil 12 full volts when the starter's turning, but somehow it's shorting, so I've left that. I won't hook it on to anything here, and it's shorting in the solenoid. I think we've been over that, or I've been over it. Anyhow, so that's what's going on there. So I think maybe these wires should come around this way, and that'll make it so they don't get involved over there. Okay, I'll do it all again. And then this wire here is the temperature gauge for in the car. Okay, I think, and that's most of the wiring. Well, there's still these mystery wires here. Don't know where they go. And there's a couple of wires that have to come here onto the brake light switch. Maybe that's some of this stuff. I don't know. We'll find out. There, I think I finally figured out where this wire goes. It comes out of this relay over here, and then follows along underneath the underneath the intake manifold, and then up through this hole here to here, and then over to there, to that. This is the idle fuel shutoff switch, right? Needs power when key on. Green and white is power when key on. Then this is the fuel. This is the temperature, air temperature sensor or switch, air temperature switch, and it has power to one side, and this one here will pick up power when temperature gets to a certain amount. And then last one is right here onto the choke, automatic choke, and it goes to there. Now there must be a couple of air hoses go on there. Do they go to that canister over here? They might. There's two hoses there. Maybe they go to the canister. I don't know. Just don't know. Not knowing. Maybe I'll find it on a diagram somewhere, or find it on a picture somewhere. Anyway, now this hose goes back into here and gets tightened on there, which will happen soon. And I'll tighten the hose on the bottom there soon. Okay. Anyway, that's enough for today. I've got I spent the early part of the day today out fixing tractors, so that's drive an hour to fix a tractor. So that was all right though. I hope it's, well, it must be still going. I haven't heard anything. Must be working. So now I'll get this finished tomorrow. Fuel line's filled all the way up, so I'll put fuel in it tomorrow and see if I can make it run off its own fuel tank. Now this, while you weren't looking, this is a one-way valve here. I turned it around backwards so nothing can come out there until I figure out where that goes. There is a return on the top of the tank, so I guess it goes there somehow, but I don't know how. Okay, so see you later. Okay, I think I got it mostly done. This, I forgot to put a filter in it, fuel filter right there, and of course I stuck it in backwards. Then I took it out, stuck it in backwards again, and third time I've got it right. Hey, now, and then remember the other day, and I was wondering what that connection there's a hose that goes between here and here. I wondered why. Well, here's why. It hooks onto here, and it gets a water heater into the choke. So I think that after the temperature of the car comes to a certain level, then this will shut off. That's based on that water coolant thing there, and that'd take that, and then it would shut off electricity to here somehow or other. No, it can't do that, because if it shut off electricity to there, then that would also shut it off to here. So that's not true. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a backup for the electric heater in there. Who knows? Anyway, I think that's for water, but I'm not sure. I'm going to check before I hook water to it. I'm going to check and see what the internet has to say about it, or what my book has to say about it. Yeah, sure enough, there it is, number 66 here, and 66 says coolant connector pipe. So that coolant goes to that pipe there. Interesting. Good thing I only have water in here. Yeah, so that's air pump right there, tight. And I put a clamp on that hose there. So all that's done. All those clamps are done on the hoses. I'm meaning to take this tape out of here forever, but you know, I'll be pulling tape off the car for 100 years. Boy, that tape is tougher than I am. Nothing new there though. Oh well, there we go. That'll come off. Yeah, lots of tape in the back of the car to take off yet, because I have to put the tail lights in and all that kind of stuff. But there, I just get that uncovered. Got another one to go. Okay. Okay, now that's one hose out of there, one hose out of here, and it goes to this thing here, which does whatever it's supposed to do. They like, I guess they really like to keep that carburetor warm to make it run nice. Anyway, won't worry about it too much. Now next is I'll put some fuel into the tank, see if it leaks, and then we'll see if we can run it up. Maybe it'll start. Now we'll see if it runs and stays running for a while, because now I've got everything, all the vacuum lines are plugged off, I think. A little bit of fuel in the float bowl, enough I hope to be able to pump it up from the down below there. See if it'll go, see if it'll give a start, eh? Well, it's pumping fuel up to here, but I don't think it got enough into the carburetor to make a difference yet. That's good, so something's going on. We'll give it another go here. I'll leave it running for a few minutes. Well, that thing's quiet, eh? Sounds like a BMW. Let it warm up, and maybe with the stove open, then we'll see if it'll idle down. Sounds like a pretty happy machine. See if there's anything happening here. Must have oil pressure, because there's nothing showing here. Oh, look at that. Fuel gauge works. Can you see that? Right there. That's the fuel gauge works. That's happy. Now we'll see if the temperature comes up. So, I'll give it a few minutes and let it warm up for a bit. I'll look underneath and see if there's anything serious happening underneath there. Serious happening underneath there. We'll just check that out. I think that's a fuel leak, is it? Is that underneath there? Oh yeah, that's a... You can tell where that's coming from, right? Hang on, I'll see if I can tighten that down. Well, that was a bit exciting. That was a bit of a mess. There's gasoline everywhere underneath there. Now that's one of those Dorman things there. Now I have one of those on the Porsche and it worked just fine. Don't know why it wouldn't work here. Maybe it's just I didn't have it straight in. Anyhow, here's this thing. Can you see that? Yeah. There's a, what's that, a pipe hose clamp thing that, you know, works pretty good. Now my shirt smells like gas. Everything smells like gas. Okay, I'll put it back up. I'll clean up my mess and I'll see if I can make that a better connection there. I think I might just put a rubber connector on it. That way it doesn't have to, I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I was able to save that much fuel without getting it all contaminated in there. So this down here will go in the waste. That one there will go back in the red tank, and then I'll put some more back in the tank of the car. Okay, I'll clean up here first. Yeah, so I've got the major leak stopped. Anyway, now how come it failed? Here's why. Because the operator didn't put it together right. Anyway, I don't know if you can see up there, but that didn't go together straight. This one here comes apart no problem. And that, see how the compression fitting thing sort of sits down and compresses that pipe, right? Well, on this side here it went in crooked and didn't compress the pipe properly, so that would be the cause of the failure. So yeah, it wasn't the equipment fault, it was the operator fault. I did it wrong. Okay, try it again, shall we? Here's, this thing is got a rubber hose. That's 300 psi fuel line, and it's just sucking. There's no pressure on that thing, but enough pressure that it was leaking like a sieve there a little bit ago. That's leaking a bit around there. I think these my 635, the E24 over there, it leaks transmission fluid like it's always dripping transmission fluid on the automatic. And this one here might be the same as a transmission fluid dripper, but we'll see. See how it gets along in time. Okay, now it was running, so what I'm going to do now is going to see if I can hook up the put this gear shift thing in. I guess that comes apart there, does it? Not really sure what happens, how to get that out of there. But, oh, pointing all over the place, eh? Here it is here. So this part here is less than perfect. Can't get it off. Anyhow, I'll get that off later. And but for now, I think I'll just put the gear shift, put it in, and put the gear shift on it, and then I'll be able to see if the transmission works. Okay. Oh, there you go. Where is it? Right there. So that thing there's 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and they had, you know, those clippy things like this thing here, those things there, but the clippy things were wore out, so it wouldn't take a bolt. But I'll show you what I have, and they work pretty good, except that you had to drill out the hole a little bit bigger. Hang on, I'll get one out here for you. These things here, like that idea, and then they have somewhere down here there's a bolt to go in it. Always works very well when a bolt like that goes into there, and that works. They work very well. So came from Amazon somewhere. Front bumper clip kit, auto clips and fasteners. Who knows? There you go. There's a clippy thing on each side of that there, and then that's adjustable if I need to, but I hope not, because it's a pain in the ass to get that clippy thing on and off, but I guess I could do it if I had to. Anyway, now back to the upstairs part. We'll start it up again. Maybe we'll see if the wheels will turn. Hang on. Now, see if we can make it so it's not leaking, eh? See what happens here. Let's start it up. Sounds really good. Now I'll let it warm up for a while. See if anything What's that? Something making a pile of noise. Sounds like it's underneath there. Maybe it's not in park right. I'll just check the transmission and see what happens. That's reverse. I think most of the noise is coming out of the transmission. That's neutral. Noisy, noisy, noisy. But maybe it needs fluid or something. Let's drive. Well, that's definitely going. Yeah, so all the noise is coming out of the transmission. I'll check the fluid. Hang on a minute here. Yeah, it wants fluid, so I'll put some fluid in there. There's nothing on the ship. Hang on. That's back to quiet. And I put in about a liter of fluid, maybe a bit more. This is getting warm, and it looks like it's circulating down a little ways, which is okay. I'll just let that be. And you can hear the air pump down here making noise. I think everything else is pretty quiet. I think the motor itself is nice and quiet. No water dripping in the heater. I don't know if they're open or not. It's starting to smoke off a bunch of like stuff, right? Which is fine. Let's see how it's doing in here. Can't really tell if that's coming up or not. But it says it's got oil pressure. We'll put her in gear and let it run for a bit in gear. Very hard to get in here. I'll have to get my bucket seat out. I think the brakes still need some adjusting, but that's okay. I'll just let that spin around for a while. See if oil spits out of everywhere. Yeah, both sides are turning. Anyway, let it run for a while, I'll get back to you. Okay, seems to be going all right. Seems that the temperature gauge is going up slowly. Those are rattling happening back in there. So let's put it upstairs and see what's happening with it. Up she goes. Okay, now, that's as high as I can get it for now. All sounds good down here. That's spinning fine. Must be something inside scraping and making noise. Don't think there are any noises down here. Sounds like the pinion bearing is kind of noisy there. That might need to be changed. Oh, we'll run her for a bit and see what happens. See how clean that's coming out there. Where's my paper towel? Up above. Don't have any white. There's a white piece of paper. See what happens. See if we get any black on it. That's pretty clean. Nothing, no dirt coming through there. Huh. Well, I think we got a runner. We'll see about that pinion bearing. I'll just, after I'm done here, I'll check the fluid in the rear end. Okay, isn't that something? A running car. That sounds good. Okay, put her back down. We'll shut her off for a while. I'll just check out the temperature and check the fluids and all that kind of stuff. And I'll leave that. I'll move that thing there out of the way so I can see what. I'll leave it there because I'm pretty sure that something's going to be dripping. Right? Now, don't let it down onto the floor with the wheels turning. That would be a good idea, hey? Or maybe tomorrow we'll take it out and take it for a spin. See if I can get a bucket seat in it, or maybe a steering wheel. Steering wheel would be a fun idea. Hold her there. Throw it into neutral. Yeah, you hear that noise? I don't know what that noise is. That's parked, I hope. Yeah, that's parked. Oh, it's just that door rattling. Not at all. It's nothing to do with the drive. Nothing rattling in the drive. Wait a minute, I'll see if I can put a rag in there and that'll stop the door from rattling. Or that window rattling or something rattling. I think that solved it. Yep. Okay. I think we're pretty happy here. I think we have an operating machine. Temperature's above the blue. Not into the hot or anything like that. It's been running for quite a while, so we gotta assume. Well, I won't assume, but I think it's working fine. Shut her off. No run on. Now, I do have a couple other little things for it. I've got electronic ignition, which I will throw in there, and that will be, I won't change the timing. I'll see if I can get it to run, and then I'll do it after I get that electronic ignition in there. I'll time it up with a light. Well, hope. Hey, 4 o'clock now. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, so I checked the, what do you call that, fluid in here, and it's up to the right level. A little bit warm, but not hot or anything. I'll let that go for a while, and then we'll just see how it feels. Everything is feeling good. Like that's hot. Why would that be hot? Just because of the exhaust pipe? Why would that be hot? No reason for that to be hot, is there? Well, it must be from the exhaust pipe because it's cool back there and hot up here. Must be a shield missing somewhere. I'll have to check and see if there's supposed to be a shield there. I don't know. Okay, that's enough for today. I adjusted the brakes a little bit on this thing here. That was spinning before. Not spinning now. Why? How come? Did I make it too tight here? What's going on there now? What's going on there? I made it too tight. Have to put it in neutral and try that again. Hang on. Now, I forgot to show you something yesterday. I think maybe it was heater hoses. That hose goes down there, that hose goes down there. No. Was it gas lines all hooked up? No, I forget. These things, that's all together. Maybe that's the heat pump stuff, or no. Oh, what do you call that thing? The air pump thing. Anyway, everything seems to be together now, and it all seems to be in the right location. I've got the right colored wires going to the right things, and things seem to work. So anyhow, well, I forget, but we'll go after that electronic ignition tomorrow. Okay, let's see what we can do. Got my helper here today. It's hot out. About putting the electronic ignition into here. Now what I'll do is I'll mark where that's sitting right there somehow. Don't know how I'll do it, but I'll do something. I'll get some sort of mark on there, and then I'll pull that out and we'll change the what do you call that? We'll change it to electronic ignition, which is over there somewhere. I brought it out the other day. There it is, right there. Okay, and then we'll carry on from there. Okay, I've got it marked. I don't know if you can see in there. Yeah, you can see that white mark there. That's a mark on the chassis of the car, or on the body of the head there, the head of the car, and then part of it's onto this. And then where this is pointing is right there. So I'll just put it back in the same place when I put it back in. Because I could turn it over to top dead center, but that would make it, that getting down in there and turning that motor underneath there is not easy. So I'll just be happy where it is. Yeah, so this 10mm bolt loosens off, and then the whole thing will come out, we think. So when it goes back in, see how that thing turns? Got to be back about that far. Now there's a pretty good O-ring on that. Oh yeah, and I got to take this electricity off of here. Come on. Okay, that's pretty simple, right? Good O-ring. That worked. Okay, now there's my one mark. I don't know if you can see it there. And there's the mark on here. No. There's the mark on here. I don't know how that got in there. Anyhow, I'll put a better mark here. Okay. Yeah, so there's this little cover on here, and it goes like that. Then there's this, goes in like that. And then they come off. Oh, excuse me. Anyhow, now I have to take that wire off of there, have to get this off of here, and then that off of there, which is all fairly straightforward, hey? And that's just the ground plate, grounding to the plate there. Now we'll see if this thing, the electronic thing, fits. There's the condenser and the points out. Now this thing here that used to, these plastic things, isolator went around there, but it's pretty near done done its duty, so it's maybe a good thing I'm changing this out. Suppose the new condenser would have come with a new thing, but oh well. There we are. Hang on a minute, I'll get the other stuff. Now, first step, check and make sure that this coil is adequate to the job. So it says in the book, or on the instructions, to measure from here to here. Remove all the wires from the coil. Measure from here to here. The coil should have more than 3 ohms of resistance. 3 ohms or more. I don't know. Can you see that thing there now? It's upside down, backwards. How about there? I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So if I measure between, you can see over here on the right where I'm doing this. Doesn't matter what thing goes where, just right to there to there. Now you see that that is 2.3, 2.2 ohms, and I've checked the internal resistance of this machine is 0.3 ohms. So that's, this coil over here is 2 ohms. So to make it 3 ohms or more, I've added a ballast resistor. So I've plugged in the ballast resistor now, and I've got the one lead going to the back side of the ballast resistor and one lead going to the coil, and it's 3.7, 3.6. Take away 0.3, and that's the internal resistance of the machine, and that's 3.2 or 3.3 ohms. So this now qualifies as being the correct resistance in here. So now I can figure out where all these wires go back to. This one goes on here. Let's see. Green one goes on there. This is the one that shorts things out. Then this is the extension of the green through the resistor, the ballast resistor. This one here goes to the tachometer function of the car. Then you got the high tension one. Oh, I haven't finished it. I got to check the internal ballast, the internal of it. Okay. Go back up here again. Put it back here where you can see the machine. Got ahead of myself. Okay. Right there. Okay. Try this again. So then, to check the internal, you go from there to there. I'm pretty sure it's pretty good. 14.2 kilo ohms. So that's over 7,000, I think that is. Yeah, that's lots of kilo ohms there. Those are plenty of kilo ohms to make things work, I think. Anyway, I'll read about that later. Now I'll hook up the wires again. So that one goes there. The high tension wire goes on. Get it in there well. This one here goes there. Green wire still goes there. That one gets ignored for a while. This one can go on here. I want to get that up back in there, right? Out of the way. And then should be a black wire. This one here. That's the signal from the distributor, which, oh, it's not there right now, but it'll be there soon. Okay, so the coil's okay and the resistance is okay on there. Now I can carry on with instructions of how to install this thing. Okay, so say to like this backing plate here, got to clean it off well. You love the smell of brake clean, hey? Isn't that one of your favorite smells, hey? So that should clean that off pretty well. And in fact it does. That's all the yuck that came off of there. Then we put on the oh, was I pointing the right way? Lots of yuck there. Okay, next I have to get that, where is it? This thing here. So on the back side of this, you put some paste, like over here. It comes with, in the package, where is it? It comes with a bunch of this, like that white paste stuff for making things stick to and be cool. And then I'll put that paste on, and then I'll their little nub thing here goes on that side and plugs in, and then there, like it sits well, and then the screw goes down in that hole there to hold it tight. But now I'll get this wires through here first. Hang on. Well, you might as well watch. The wrong way. Pretty close. Now, these things here, I'll worry about them later. I'll put this red one has to go to the power side of the coil. This black one has to go to the back side of the coil, the negative side of the coil. So that one of them comes right up. One of them, the black one, just hooks into this wiring mess here. I'll take that apart and clean that up, I think, a bit. And the red one has to go way over to here and get onto one of these connectors here. And it should have less than 13 volts. I don't know if I should have it on this connector. I might want to put it on this connector here. I think that's where it has to go. So that's what I'll do. Yeah, because it comes with, the kit comes with two of these things here that you can make an extra connector if you need to on somewhere. Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll put the red one, I'll make a wire to go across here with the red one and plug into this side of the ballast resistor. And then if there's too much, it also says it shouldn't charge, the charging system shouldn't be more than 13.8 volts or something like that. Yeah, 13.9. And so if it's more than 13.9, I'll hook it on the other side of the ballast resistor, and that'll make it fine. We'll wait and see what it's charging at when I get it hooked up. Yeah, so this is pointing at the white mark down here, and those two white marks are lined up down there. Now that took about 3 tries to get that in the right way, but it's in there now. So I'm going to hook it all the electrics up, and then I'll, what'll I do then? Don't know. I'll do something. Okay. Then I'll start the car, I think, see how it runs, see if it runs, number one, and then we'll go from there. There, I've put a, wait a second, yeah, pull that apart. Put a connector like that on here with, I've got this crimper here that does 2 things at once sort of idea. Actually a pretty good crimper. It's I-Crimp, and it's got a ratchet in it. Amazon, of course, yeah. Anyway, that's on. So that will go into this connector, and then I'll shrink wrap that up there so that it's, well, I'll just do that. Where's my thing? There it is. Oh. So now that will go together on here, and then I'll put an extension on this red wire to go around and hook onto there. Okay, that's what I'll do. Yeah, so I've got these insulation-free butt connector things and a little bit of shrink wrap. So that goes there, that goes here. Are you gonna see this? Is this gonna be in the right place? Turn over here a bit. Okay. So usually I just strip them off that much, then I twist them a bit, and then give them a little bit of a bend at the end sometimes. And that'll slide into there. Whoops. Damn. Sometimes it makes a mess. Try that again. this wire that the hot spot comes with is nice fine wire. Can you see any of that, or am I in the way? Get in there. Okay, there it's in. Then I got this connector thing here, Power Fist. Oh, that's from Princess's Auto, and it works pretty good. All those ones that have a ratchet on them work nice. Now you see that's red to blue because that's keeping in theme with the color of the car, right? And I had blue wire. Yeah, that wasn't very smart of me. You see that little bit of... I didn't go quite far enough. And it's not tightening down on there. So I'll have to get it to tighten down. Yeah, that's a bit of a failure. I'll try that. I'll do that again. Hang on. I'll show you when I get it done. I've also got this thing here, which is dandy for stripping the wires off. So now I'll give it a little bit of room up there and pull it through here. There it is over to here. Now I have the other end of the red wire and I'll put it down. I'll try it on here first, I think, because that won't hurt anything. It'll be just a little bit less voltage coming through. Well, a little bit less. Don't know what happened there. I'll put the meter on it and find out. So I'll do up this one same as the other and I'll plug it on. Oh, there. That red one goes on the ignition side of the coil. This is the distributor side of the coil. All set to go. This is where these are the connector things, right? And it comes in a kit. All sorts of different sizes. Mostly I like these little ones, eh? But Wirefly, not fly. Non-insulated butt connectors. 200 pieces of stuff I'll hardly ever use, right? I'll use about 40 of them. The rest will be garbage. But anyway, okay. Well, let's see if it'll run with the electronic ignition in it. Wired up over there. I don't know if you can see over there. Yeah, maybe. And then the other thing that you'll be happy to know, that after yesterday's running there was no dripping underneath it. Don't know why. It seemed to have solved all the dripping problems. See what happens. Oh, got it too far advanced. Try it again. I didn't have the lines marked up on the thing. So I'll try it again. Oh, just about went. I'll let it warm up a little while and then I'll see if I can get the timing done on it. I'll check that over here, how much it's charging. Idles right down, eh? Isn't that something? See if it'll keep on running, we don't know. See what the charge rate is on it. Yeah, what do I want? Volts DC somewhere here. That's AC, volts DC. So, from in a negative and the positive side. Down here and see. 13.17. And if I'm on to here, 12.44 on there, so that doesn't hurt anything. It'll run at 12.44 all day long. Good. I'll just leave it be the way it is right there. Then we'll see if we can get a timing light on it, and while it's warming up I'll read what I'm supposed to do for timing. So the engine should be running at 2,000 RPM, and for this engine, for older models it's different. This one here has all this emission control stuff on it. And right down that, there's a hole right down there where you can see that has a timing mark in there. And you'll unplug, this is the vacuum hose, unplug that vacuum hose and then set it down there. I'll get set up and show you. Yeah, it's running pretty smooth now. And I've got that thing down there. I don't know if it's right or not, I can't really tell. I wish there was a better way. But this thing here I've got set up as a tachometer. I think it's right, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, I'm going to call that timed up fairly good. Now I have to figure out how to adjust that carburetor properly. Well, I'm going to say that's timed pretty close to right. So it just retarded it a bit from what it was on the static timing. And now I'm going to figure out how to adjust this thing here, because oh, there's more buttons and dials on that than you can shake a stick at. So I'll take a look through the book. It's actually in this Payne's manual here. There's a pretty good instructions on how to do it. I think. That's timing. Where's the carburetors? Anyway, I'll find the carburetors and go through that. Anyhow, the good news is that the electronic ignition stuff module seems to work fine. Get that out of there. Maybe that'd. Anyway, so I think we're happy. That seems to be all right. See if I can figure out how to set up the carburetor. Well, it's a seriously convoluted affair to set up the carburetor in this thing. This is the dash pot, and it has a vacuum on here. So the first thing you have to do is you have to set, like this idle screw thing there, it doesn't do anything because this dash pot looks after everything. Anyway, when there's no vacuum, it gives it a bit of an extra enrichment, I guess is a good name for it. And when there's a vacuum, it pulls this back so that it'll sit on the idle screw. So, but then there's this screw here and that screw down there. So you have to set this, unplug the vacuum to it, plug off the vacuum line, and then turn this arm out until the RPMs in the engine come up around 1500 RPM. Then you can plug this back in and that pulls that back. Then you can set this adjustment here to make it around 850 RPM. And then once that's done, then you set that adjustment down there to get the proper mixture coming out the end of the carburetor. You have to have a CO2 reader back there to tell that. Now my thoughts are just where it runs nicely. But then it says you take off the carburetor and turn it upside down, and there's a little set screw in there to get the what do you call that thing, to get the butterfly close to the right amount. And I think that's wrong, because I can't get it to idle down below 1,000 or so, or 1,100 or something. I've got this set up as a tachometer. You plug that in there and put an induction thing on there, and it becomes a tachometer. I don't know if it's all that great, but it seems to be working. Anyway, I'm now at the point where I'm going to take the carburetor off and check. Like here it says in the book, it says invert the carburetor and release the lock nut number 6, right? Okay, here's lock nut number 6. Then you turn the adjusting screw number 5 until light can just be seen between the edge of the valve plate and the carburetor valve. Retighten the lock nut. Now, wouldn't you think that should be the very first thing you do? Don't know. Anyway, because that's obviously causing the idle to go up. unless there's an air leak in it somewhere, which would cause more idle to go up. Anyway, it seems to be upside down and backwards, but I'll do what it says and see if we can get any better. Now, as near as I can tell, that secondary one is like there. Oh, let me get some light on the other side here. Hang on, I'll get set up so we can see this stuff. See what's going on here. See if that's gonna, will that hold there? Now you see, can you see in there? See the light come through? Now it closes to a point where you can just barely see light come through, like it says in the instructions. But it's not closing, this thing here is not closing it as completely. So I think this is hanging open a bit, and it might be just, you know, a matter of lubrication on that around there. Because I didn't pay much attention to this, although I'm pretty sure it does work. You can hear it hissing. Anyway, I'm going to put that back on, say that adjustment here is okay, but see if I can get this thing to return properly, because it's not returning properly, and I think it's holding a little bit of the secondary valve open there, and that is causing it to have a little bit high idle. And there's another vacuum port right there. What the hell is there? That would likely cause an issue there. That might be your problem right there, ma'am. Okay, let's see if I can figure out where that's supposed to go. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, I don't think I had a hose. No, there was no hose hooked on that, wherever it goes. So we'll have to get a hose hooked on that somehow. Yeah, here's a quick answer again before I shut it down. That one there is supposed to be hooked on down there. So that's what I need. I need another vacuum hose to go to that. And that'll solve that problem. Smart like me. Yeah, so plugged up that vacuum leak, and don't you know it, this idles nice now. And that's idling around 950, 935 on there. Sounds good. I'll be happy with that for a while now. So I'll have to get a proper plug for that. Just put a drill in it now. Anyway, that's encouraging. I'm finally figuring some stuff out. Now if I had a CO2 meter, I'd stick it on the end of the exhaust pipe, and that would be the right way to get that thing dialed in properly. But I don't, so it'll be close enough for non-California, right? I'll put my white meter back here and just see if there's any blackness coming out. Clean as a whistle, so I guess we're all right. Anyway, I think that's enough for this video. Got it running reasonably good, and I'm going to let it run it for a bit, and then I'll go at it a bit more for the timing number 1 and for the carburetor adjustment number 2. But for the most part, I'm fairly happy right now. So make sure to like, subscribe. If you made it this far, you might as well subscribe, right? And thanks for watching. See you later.